Hi, welcome back to my channel. Today on Typical Tuesday, I'll be showing you how I make my easy and delicious soaked whole wheat bread. It's a sandwich bread. I use 100% whole wheat because I want to have fiber and protein and all the B vitamins that we love. And when you do this method, your bread becomes health food. So you can have bread again unless you have celiac disease or gluten sensitivities. Okay, so if you would like to write everything down, hit pause, get a pen and paper, and meet me back here. All right, so the first thing we'll do is get a large bowl, and you are going to put the water in first, and it is a total of 3 cups of filtered water and 2 tablespoons of an acidic medium. I use raw unfiltered apple cider vinegar. You can use lemon, but I don't advise it. I don't think that flavor would be good. You can use kefir, maybe yogurt, but do apple cider vinegar. It's fabulous. Put that in first, and then you're going to add 7.5 cups of 100% organic whole wheat flour. You can use all-purpose flour if you'd like. You're just not getting a lot of bang for your buck, but you certainly could. And you will absolutely want to use a wooden spoon. Don't use metal during this process. So you're going to stir and just get it incorporated before you start kneading it. And this already smells so good. So when you sprout your bread or any grains, you allow the body to break down the phytic acids that are in all grains and legumes. And then it becomes true food the way God intended it to be. It doesn't have to poison you. So that's why it's important that you sprout it or soak it first. And this will be soaking overnight for a minimum of 12 hours up to 24. But I'll tell you a little bit more about that in a few minutes. Okay, so it looks like I've gotten this fairly incorporated. So because I need a little bit more leverage, we're going to go into my living room where I'm going to show you how to knead this in the bowl. So I'll see you in a minute. Thanks. So make sure you haven't pet your children, cats, dogs, etc. Wash your hands because we're about to get down and dirty. Maybe messy is a better word. Okay. So now you just start kind of folding the dough with both hands. And it gets messy. I should have put my apron on. I didn't. I will later. So the pattern that you are to do is start at the top and press in with your palms. Come to the side and press in with your palms. Come to the bottom and press with your palms. Come to the other side and press with your palms. And you will keep doing that for between 5 and 7 minutes. And if you continue to bake this bread, you will eventually get a feel for it and know when it's ready to stop kneading. But anywhere between 5 and 7 minutes should suffice. Okay, so I'm going to continue to knead this for a few more minutes, and I'll see you back in the kitchen. All right, so after you've kneaded for 5 to 7 minutes, this is how it will look. I usually flip it over. Like when you've kneaded it, it'll look like that. And I just like to flip it over so that it's smooth on the top. Then you'll want to cover it. I've found these little shower cap looking things, but they're for food and bowls, so you can buy them in the grocery store. You want it to be very snug because it's going to create heat, and that helps that soaking process. And if you don't have these, just use saran wrap with a little bit of fractionated coconut oil on the plastic to seal it tightly. So this is going to go away from any direct air conditioning, and you're going to sit it out on the counter for 12 hours minimum, and you can leave it up to 24 hours. So this is the first step before we start letting the bread rise and adding the yeast and all of that to it. So that, through the magic of television, I'm about to show you that next step. Have a 1/4 cup of 110 degrees water. Make sure it's not too hot and not too cool or it won't work. So 110. 2 tablespoons of sugar. 2 heaping teaspoons of active dry yeast. Stir that well, and you're going to let this sit for about 5 more minutes. All right, so before we add the yeast mixture, we're going to warm our oven up for only 30 to 45 seconds and then turn it off. You're not trying to bake anything at this point, but just creating a warm environment for your bread to rise, or your dough to rise. So we're putting the dough in the oven for about 5 minutes to warm it up. In about 5 minutes, we'll add the yeast, sugar, and water mixture to the dough and knead, and I'll show you how to do that. Okay, so we've gotten our dough a little warmed up, and that just helps it receive the yeast mixture. So our yeast mixture sat there for about 5 minutes. Look how foamy and frothy and active that is. Excellent. I always try to use plastic when stirring this, by the way. All right, so what we're going to do, we're just going to come in here and pour that all on top. Try to get as much of the mixture out as possible. Set this down. Have a sip of Milady beer. All right, so again, clean hands. While it's in the bowl, we're just going to start squishing that around with that same pattern where you go to all 4 sides. So you're folding down the top and pressing in with your palms. And this will be, again, about a 5 or 7 minute process. All right, so I did have to come down to the ground. You need a lot of force for this. So this helps me. Do it however you can, but this is my way. And I usually just do it with one hand only. I don't get in there with both. But you can see the pattern I'm doing. And really press with the heel of your hand, holding. All right, so we did all of that kneading with the yeast mixture. So it looks a little like that. You're going to put your plastic cover back on, and it's going back in your preheated oven. You don't turn it on. It should still be plenty warm enough from the previous preheating, so we'll do that. And you're going to let it rise for 30 to 45 minutes. So anywhere between 30 and 45 minutes, it should be good. So set your timer for that. All right, so it's been 30 to 45 minutes. Now we are going to add 2 heaping teaspoons of salt. If you don't like a lot of salt, though, you can back off on that or eliminate it altogether, but salt brings out the flavors in everything. So we'll sprinkle this on top. And then this is interesting. This is half a tablet of a vitamin C pill or capsule. You just crush it up and use half of that pill. So I've already pre-crushed it, and I'm just eyeballing it and using about half of that. This is a stabilizer. This helps the bread not get crumbly. And it's a natural way to do that. The stores use all kinds of chemicals to keep that bread together, but this will stay together. So now I'm going to just go in and knead it again. So after you've incorporated the vitamin C and sea salt, dampen your countertop, your very clean countertop. And then get some arrowroot. I like this better than cornstarch because it's non-GMO. The healthier the better, right? But cornstarch would work. So you just sprinkle this all over your work area. And you're going to dump your dough out on top of that. Okay, so this is going to be that same pattern, but I like to kind of slap it a little bit because that breaks down the gluten even more. So let's just start by doing that pattern on the sides, on the top, other side, bottom. Now I like to just start slapping it and pressing in with the palm of my hands. And really put your body into it. Work those arms, ladies. This just continues to break down all that gluten. And this is, again, for another 5 to 7 minutes. So I'll see you as soon as I'm through with that. All right, so after you have kneaded the bread for 5 to 7 minutes, just kind of give it a few little firm twists like that and let it rest. And while it's resting for a few minutes, I'm going to prepare the bread pans. So I'll do that right here. So I just take grass-fed butter. You can use a paper towel, but I just use my fingers. It helps also melt the butter and help the process. My hands are clean, so it's all good. I like these glass Pyrex loaf pans better than the metal. Just do what you like, but this is what I prefer. And also, the recipe comes from Wiedemann Reap. So DaNelle tells you all of that if you want to go to that link that I'll provide. So this is her recipe. And this is what she has always recommended. So I just follow all of her recommendations. And she'll tell you where to buy everything that you need. All right, so we have these prepared. I'm going to set these to the side just for a minute and be right back. Now we are going to cut this in half. You might want to have one of these to be able to cut your bread in half. So I just eyeball it and go as evenly in the center as I can. Put that one aside. Now we're going to roll this out. And it should be hard to roll out. This is a great tricep workout too. So you're getting your cardio in and some arm workout. But you're going to roll it out in like a rectangle. And it's going to fight you, so you just got to keep working with it. All right, I think that's pretty good. And I've rolled these up on either end. There may be a right way to do that, but I just do whatever, you know, from whichever end. I help it along with this thing too. Look at that cute little loaf. Hold on, I'm gonna get one of the pans. So you put him in there, let him rest for a second. I'll be right back. Guess I'll have this one on standby. Now we get this other one. I usually quit rolling when it seems like it's gotten to a pretty long length and doesn't fight me. I think that's good. Ooh, that'll be a larger one. That's okay. All right, so now I'm going to preheat the oven for just 30 seconds this time on 350. Preheating the oven to 350. And then I will put these, I'll turn the oven off after 30 seconds and put both loaves uncovered in the oven for 30 to 45 minutes. All right, so we're putting both pans in the oven. You've turned your oven off, don't forget, and put your timer on and let it rise for 30 to 45 minutes, and I'll see you back. All right, so now we're ready to bake the bread. So we're going to get the pans out of the oven. You can see that they've risen. Now we're going to preheat for 350 to 350 degrees. And I'll see you back here in a second. All right, so I just put the loaves in the oven. They're going to bake for about 30 to 40 minutes. I've never gone 45 minutes. 30 to 35 has always been just fine, so I'll see you back then. All right, here we go. Yes, sirree, Bob. Woohoo! Look at that. Pretty little loaves. Okay, so whatever you do, this next step is critical. Do not cut into this bread for 30 minutes. After about 10 minutes, I will flip these out of their pans and let them just sit on the little racks. And then you can slice away, but let it rest for 30 minutes. And that's it. I'll see you back here soon once it's cooled. All right, so all that hard work has paid off. Here we are with one of my loaves and about to enjoy it with a nice cup of one of my favorite teas by Harney & Sons. It's my Black Paris tea. So now I get to sit down, relax, and enjoy the fruits of my labor. If you've enjoyed this video, please hit like and subscribe. And if you have any questions or comments, just please put them down below. Thanks for visiting with me, and I hope to see you again soon. Bye.